Welcome to Class with Skeul, where Black American history, news, and real issues are taught with clarity, structure, and purpose. This is not surface-level content. This is a timeline, a record, a correction. Every episode is built to teach what was done, what was fought for, and what was taken. From revolts to wars, from policy to resistance, we break it down so it can be understood, remembered, and never rewritten. Because history that isn't taught clearly can be distorted, and history that is distorted can be used against the people it belongs to. Here, we focus on accuracy, on connection, on truth. Not just to inform, but to preserve. Not just to explain, but to expose. Because this isn't just about the past. It's about understanding the present and recognizing what continues. Each video is part of a larger structure, so nothing is isolated and nothing is forgotten. Stay focused, stay aware, stay connected. Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and shew my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins. Isaiah 58:1.
Episode 6. The Second Seminole War, 1835 to 1842. Part 1. Resistance refuses removal. By the 1830s, the United States had made its position clear. It wanted control of the land and removal of the people who stood in the way. In 1830, the U.S. government passed the Indian Removal Act, a policy designed to force native nations off their land and move them west. The Seminoles in Florida were among those targeted. But this situation was different, because the Seminoles were now alone. Living among them were Black communities, some made up of escaped enslaved people, others born free within Seminole territory. Over time, these groups had built strong alliances. They lived together, traded together, and most importantly, defended each other. For Black people within Seminole society, removal meant something more than relocation. It meant risk. If they were forced west under U.S. control, many could be captured and pushed back into slavery. So the stakes were clear. This wasn't just about land. This was about freedom. U.S. officials attempted to enforce removal through treaties, but many Seminoles refused to sign or recognize them. Black leaders within these communities also pushed back, understanding exactly what relocation could lead to. Tensions grew. Negotiations failed. And in 1835, the situation turned into open conflict. The Second Seminole War began. This would not be a short campaign. It would become the longest and most expensive war the United States fought against Native resistance. And at the center of it were fighters who understood exactly what they were protecting.
If you've made it this far, you're not just watching. You're following Black American warrior history in its full timeline. On Class with Skeul, every episode connects, showing resistance, strategy, and power across generations. If you're tapped in, support the channel. Hit like so more people see this. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Turn on the notification bell so you're there when it drops. And share this with someone who needs the full story, not just pieces. This isn't random content. It's a structured history. Stay locked in. The next episode goes deeper.
Part 2. The Fight and Its Impact. The Second Seminole War was not fought in the way the United States expected. There were no clear battle lines, no quick victories. Instead, there was movement. Black and Seminole fighters used the terrain of Florida to their advantage. Swamps, forests, and rivers became part of their strategy. They avoided large-scale confrontations and focused on smaller, targeted engagements. They struck quickly, then disappeared. This made it difficult for U.S. forces to maintain control. American troops were trained for conventional warfare, but in Florida, they were forced into unfamiliar conditions: heat, disease, and terrain that worked against them. Meanwhile, resistance fighters adapted constantly. Leaders like Osceola became known for their ability to coordinate attacks and avoid capture. Alongside him were Black leaders such as John Horse, who played a critical role in organizing and guiding resistance efforts. John Horse was more than a fighter. He was a strategist, a negotiator, a leader who understood both the military and political sides of the conflict. Black fighters within the Seminole forces served in multiple roles: combatants, scouts, interpreters, and organizers. Their presence strengthened the resistance and made it more flexible. For years, the war continued. The United States poured resources into the conflict, but progress was slow. Villages were destroyed, and many Seminoles were captured or forced west. But a portion of the population refused to surrender. They stayed. They moved deeper into Florida. They kept fighting. By 1842, the war officially ended, but not with complete victory for the United States. A number of Seminoles and their black allies remained in Florida, never fully removed. The resistance had held, at a cost, but it held. The Second Seminole War proved something that had been building for generations. Black resistance was not just reactive. It was strategic, sustained, and capable of standing against one of the most powerful governments of its time. This was no longer a moment. It was a pattern. And that pattern would continue into new environments, new roles, and new forms of power. Because the next phase of this story would move west, into the frontier, into the era of the Buffalo Soldiers and the warriors of the Wild West.
If you made it to the end, stay tapped in. Like this video so it reaches more people. Subscribe to Class with Skeul for the full timeline. Turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. Drop a comment. What stood out, what should be added, and what you want covered next.